I used to have a big problem with just not taking my setup. I wouldn't be able to wait for my training setups to happen. So I would take them earlier. I would overtrade. I would just get really emotional. But what I realized that is also a thing about focusing on your P&L instead of focusing on your process. Because if you focus on your process, you're focusing on taking your trade, the right trade at the right time in the right way. But if you're focusing on the P&L, you're just focusing on trying to make a profit. And the problem here is that you're trying to find that profit everywhere because the market is always moving. There's always an opportunity. So that's why we need to shift our focus. And with NAC, it sounds really weird, but it's actually a really cool thing to change your emotions around following your process. So you will put your focus to focusing on your system, your trading strategy, instead of focusing on P&L. This is a really cool thing that Tony Robbins taught me, not personally. So most traders are conditioned to feel pain when they lose and pleasure when they win. And this is not what we want, but this is what we're programmed to do as humans. And what we want to do is to do the opposite. We want to feel pleasure when we follow our system and pain when we don't follow our system. So that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So emotional regulation is basically about controlling your responses to the market and your results. So understanding that you can change your emotion about the trading, about anything in your trading, basically. So the challenge is the most traders are conditioned to feel pain when they lose and pleasure when they win. And the solution is to associate a lot of pleasure with it, which is NAC, associative conditioning. So we want to associate pleasure with following a trading plan and executing trades properly, regardless of the outcome. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. You're going to celebrate the second you put the trade on. And I'm going to tell you later exactly how you can do this. And the method is to use the NAC, and we create a positive emotional response for the right actions, like even waiting for a setup. We want to release dopamine for waiting for a setup. So most of the time, if you're like me, I would get a positive emotion from taking my setup and not from waiting for a setup, because that would make me bored and it would make me feel like I'm not really trading. But what we want to do is we want to create a positive emotion. We release dopamine from just waiting for your proper setup. And I know this is not for beginners, but if you're an advanced trader, maybe you understand what I'm talking about. So this is about waiting for the proper setup, managing risk, and sticking to your plan. This is what we want the positive emotions for. The traditional is just feel good when you win and bad when you lose. So, and then focusing on profit and loss leads to emotional trading, because if you focus on your P&L, even when you're taking your profits, the only thing that's going to make you take profits is either the pain or the pleasure, if you're happy with your P&L or not. So it can cause impulsive decision, revenge trading, and chasing after the market. So what we want to do is reprogram your brain to feel good about making the right trading decision, which I'm going to start on the next slide. So you'll also learn how to discharge negative emotions after a losing day and create positive emotional reinforcement for your strategy, following your strategy, and also about just neutralizing all those negative emotions after your trading day is done. I know there's a lot of text. So first of all, we want to rewire the focus. So identify the problem, focus on the actions that align with your trading plan. So we want to focus on the execution, the entry, the exit, the management, your sizing, your trade rating. So for this, you also need a really good trading plan. So if you don't have a trading plan, I really highly suggest that you have a trading plan. I use the one-page trading plan. That's just a template, because then you can put this template right next to you while you trade, and you can look at it and you say, my entry was perfect, this was perfect, this was perfect. Okay, great job. Positive and reinforcement. Anyways, you need something to follow. If you don't have anything to follow, and if you kind of like vaguely know what you're going to follow, it's not going to work. You have to know exactly what you do at any time. So an example, the way you can use this is after you wait for a perfect setup and enter the trade at the right moment, the right confluences, everything is perfect. You look at your trading plan right next to you. You stand up, you dance, you shout, I'm a professional trader, and that was execution was perfect. You want to validate that you're a professional trader in any way that you want. Oh my God, that was a great entry. You want to just release emotions. It's the same thing if you had a good workout routine, and most of the times we just go on our phone and it's like nothing. What I do after a good workout is that I smash myself and I say, great job, that was a great workout. And I feel so much more empowered. And every time I'm making a mistake, a bad trading or a bad workout or whatever, I can still feel like I've been working out hard. I give myself the validation every time I train. So you reinforce the good habits as the process and not the P&L. I also do the thing with my trading friend Yasan. While we're trading, we say, oh, great job for waiting. Good job for waiting. Even if we just wait for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes for a trade to happen, we say great job for waiting, because we reinforce positive emotions linked to waiting for your setup. And that's what we want. Okay, so we celebrate the process, not the outcome. And after every good decision, whether it's waiting for a setup, managing risk, or sticking to a stop loss, you celebrate it directly and only celebrate execution. Never celebrate the positive P&L. or negative P&L. And even if you see positive P&L, go and ask yourself, was this execution right? And then you know if you can celebrate it or not. Patient trading, again here, if your problem would be early entries, celebrate whenever you successfully wait for the confirmation. Stand up and say, I'm so patient, I waited for this trade. Great fucking job. And then you can create statements. I use a trade statement before every trading session, and that could be something like, I'm a disciplined trader, that's why I follow my system, and I do this by following my trading plan. So you always constantly reinforce these things, revalidate it all the time, and then one day you will sit there and you will feel good for waiting. I've seen this in some of the motivational reels that I watch. Is people, they say, oh, you while you're working, you should just tell yourself that, oh, this is the reward. It's the same thing. It's about creating the positive emotion for doing the process. So this is just a simplified way of doing it for trading. When the trading day is done, it's important to replace them with positive emotions. So don't focus on the shit, the loss, the bad trades. Focus on, what did I do well? What can I be grateful for today? Did I have any great exits? Did I have any good entries? Did I manage my trades well? Even if you overtraded, I want you to find at least one or two things that you did well. So focusing on good. Same thing if you have a problem with early entries. Don't focus on having early entries or late entries. Focus on the perfect entry. Focus on the entry that you want, because then that's where you want to put your focus and that's where you want to go. So define it with a one pager, and then it's easier to follow it. So just a full example. First of all, focus on the process, not the results. And say, I feel amazing when I follow my plan. That's the rewiring we want. I feel amazing when I follow my plan. Something you can tell yourself every day. After entering a trade properly, yes, I waited for the right setup. I'm a professional trader. Say that out loud, create emotions, be happy, stand up, whatever. Doesn't matter. Just focus on always celebrating the process and not the results. After a loss, focus on what you did right. I managed my risk and I stuck to my stop loss. That's a win for me. And then the conditioning, I'm building habits that lead to long-term success, and I feel confident every time. This is just another explanation of what kind of new belief you can have, or a statement that you can have. But basically, celebrate any good entry, exit, everything. If you have a perfect trade, perfect. Celebrate that it was a perfect trade. Feel good. When you have a P&L that goes up, don't celebrate it. Just go back to your process and ask yourself, how was the entry? How was that? How was that? How was that? And don't just say, oh, it was perfect. No, go to your trading plan, your one-page trading plan. Ask yourself, did I follow it? If you follow it, celebrate. And this is also good. I don't know why this is here, but you can visualize waiting for a setup without getting emotional, and imagine the patient you'll feel and celebrate it in advance. That's a good practice that you can have, is just celebrating in your mind that you did a good job. And this is just really good for long-term success. Your brain craves pleasure. Your brain always wants to have pleasure, and with NAC, you're making it crave the pleasure of sticking to your plan and not just winning. That's super, super, super important. You're changing your emotional response, and you can use this in everything in your life. Even if you're doing something really boring, and you can start associating good emotions towards doing this boring thing, and you can actually make it fun. You can make it enjoyable just by changing your emotions around it. But that's for another video. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.